Iran tonight is in the middle of one of its largest state funerals in its modern history, as the country bids farewell to its late supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The 6 to 7 day ceremony began on July 3rd and July 4th in Tehran and will conclude with burial next Friday, July 9th, in the holy city of Mashhad. Khamenei, who was 86 years old, was killed on February 28 in coordinated US-Israeli strikes on Tehran alongside several family members. The strike triggered a major regional war, and his funeral was delayed for months as that conflict continued. Khamenei has led Iran since 1989, taking over after the death of Ayatollah Khamenei, the architect of Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution. Over more than 3 decades, he consolidated clerical rules, leaned heavily on the Revolutionary Guard, built up Iran's military reach through regional proxy groups including Hezbollah, Hamas and the Houthis, and defended Tehran's nuclear program despite years of Western sanctions. At home, his rule faced repeated unrest, from 2009 Green Movement to the 2022 protests following the death of Mahsa Amini. His confrontations with Washington and Israel, which once bolstered his standing at home, ultimately led to his death. The funeral itself is being staged across multiple cities. His body lay in the state for public viewing at Tehran's Grand Mosalla Prayer Complex for 3 days, where his flag-draped coffin was unveiled, later placed in a glass casket with his signature black turban resting on the top. The small coffin of his family members, including his infant granddaughter, was placed beneath his own. Listen in to how the ceremony began. A formal procession through Tehran is set for July 6th. From there, the procession moves to Qom on July 7th. Iran's center of Shia scholarship then crosses into Iraq for ceremonies in the holy cities of Najaf and Karbala on July 8th, before the final burial at the Imam Reza Shrine in Mashhad on July 9th, honoring the state media say the Khamenei own wish is to be laid to rest there. Iranian officials estimate that between 15 and 20 million mourners could take part over the course of the week, which would take this as the largest state funeral in Iran's history. Authorities have shut public and private offices in Tehran, imposed traffic restrictions across the capital, and partially closed Tehran's airspace, with a full closure planned for Monday. More than 5,000 schools in Tehran have reportedly been opened to house visiting mourners. With temperatures outdoor exceeding 35 degrees Celsius, workers have been misting crowds with water, and at least one elder woman has seen being carried out on a stretcher after fainting in the heat. The mood at the Grand Mosalla has been charged. Mourners have been chanting "Death to America, death to Israel" and calls for revenge, while others repeated the phrase "Labbaik ya Khamenei," meaning "at your command, Khamenei." Now look at this visual. Iran's president and IRGC Major General are seen in tears at Khamenei's funeral. On the diplomatic front, the scale of international engagement underscores the significance of this movement, with delegations from as many as 90 countries expected to descend on Tehran to attend the proceedings. Among the first to extend condolences was Russia's Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the country's Security Council, who has already paid tribute. He was joined in a gesture by Saudi Arabia's deputy foreign minister and Lebanon's defense minister as well, a combination that itself signals the cross-regional nature of the outreach, spanning traditional rivals and allies alike. Pakistan sent one of the most high-profile delegations of any nation. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif personally arrived in Tehran, accompanied by a heavyweight entourage that included Army Chief Asim Munir, Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar, Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi, Information Minister Ayatollah Tarar, and PPP Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. The sheer size and seniority of this group spanning military leadership, cabinet ministers, and a major opposition-aligned political figure, points to how seriously Islamabad is treating its participation. Beyond these confirmed attendees, further representation is expected from China, Afghanistan, and several nations across the Caucasus region. India's delegation was led by Minister of State for External Affairs and Bihar Governor Lieutenant General Saeed Atta Hassanein. Beyond the official government delegation, India's presence at the funeral extended into the political and religious spheres. Senior Congress leader and former Union Minister Salman Khurshid, along with PDF chief Mehbooba Mufti, were among the prominent Indian political figures present in Tehran. Perhaps most striking was the interfaith character of India's engagement. Indian religious leaders from diverse faiths, including Hindu, Sikh, and Muslim clerics, paid tribute to Khamenei during the state funeral ceremonies, receiving military honors and offering prayers amid Iranian flags. On the political side, tensions have fled. Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon publicly criticized UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres after Iran's foreign ministry said Guterres had expressed condolences over Khamenei's death in a call with Foreign Minister Araghchi. Perhaps the biggest unanswered question surrounds Khamenei's son and successor, who was named supreme leader after his father's death. The 56-year-old has not appeared publicly since the war began and has communicated only through written statements. As the coffin continues its journey towards Mashhad, Iran now enters an uncertain new chapter, with questions swirling over how power will be shared between the new supreme leader, the clerical establishment, and the Revolutionary Guards, even as the region watches closely for what's to come next. Group Captain UK Devnath, former IAF officer, joins us on the broadcast to share his perspective. So thank you for your time speaking to us on NewsX. And I want to understand from you, we've of course decoded the funeral that's taking place. How are you perceiving it, of course, especially when we talk about India and the delegation that has gone?
Definitely a very reasonably good representation from India. More than 90 countries representatives will be there. India has sent a very balanced delegation where one of our minister is leading the delegation. And we have carried our religious teachers also with us. So our Hindu teachers, Muslim teachers and Sikh gurus will be praying during this solemn occasion. Fact remains that probably, now talking about geopolitics, probably many countries are sending their external affairs minister for this function. Some of the countries have sent their prime minister or maybe president for this function. But since Prime Minister Modi ji was busy with his upcoming Indonesia, New Zealand, and Australia visit, he couldn't go. Our External Affairs Minister, Shri S. Jaishankar, is also very busy with various international commitments, and Modi ji's visit to Australia, New Zealand, and Indonesia. Fact remains that India and Iran are very close friends. Since independence, we have maintained a relation with Iran, which extends 1,500 years from now. Now, what is happening that Iran has repeatedly said that India is one of the closest allies. Ally is what they use, and not friend. That means they treat India as a very, very close ally when it comes to world affairs. During 40 days war, Iran has permitted Indian ships to sail out of Strait of Hormuz without much difficulty. Similarly, Indian ships from Arabian Sea were allowed to enter Persian Gulf without much difficulty. It will be nice. It will be. We must remember that 2 or 3 attacks which took place on Indian ships near Strait of Hormuz were actually carried out by US Navy and not by IRGC Navy. India
Right.
expects that in future we will play a very positive role in development of Iran, especially Gwadar port. Yes.
Right, so absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us and sharing